All right. Politico is now reporting that House Republicans are just weeks away from deciding whether to file formal articles of impeachment against President Joe Biden. There are just a few more interviews that need to happen first, including one of Hunter himself. And Hunter has a lot of questions to answer, like who is buying his art? What are they getting in return? Why has a big-time Democrat Party donor and Hollywood lawyer given Hunter Biden so much money and paid off his massive tax liability? And what about that 10% for the big guy? Here now with an update on the Biden family investigations is House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. You've got one very important witness coming up. What do you expect to hear from him?
Well, we have a lot of questions. You mentioned several of them. Obviously, we're very concerned about the millions of dollars that he and his family have received from our enemies around the world. We're concerned that it appears that at least 20 of his LLCs appear to be nothing more than shell companies that were set up to receive wires from foreign nationals and to deceive the IRS in paying taxes. We're concerned about what level of involvement Joe Biden had in these business schemes that the Bidens were clearly involved in. We want to know exactly what role Joe played and why Joe's been so dishonest with the American people about his knowledge and involvement.
Excuse me, Congressman, do you really expect Hunter Biden to give you an answer regarding what his father and how his father was involved, given the fact that his father has told the American people, I had nothing to do with his business?
Yeah, I mean, look, Hunter Biden went along with the narrative that his laptop was Russian disinformation, that it wasn't his all along, and now we know he's suing the laptop repair guy for disclosing his laptop. So, you know, the president's son has been all over the board, much like the president, but now he's going to have an opportunity to clear his good name. And if I were Hunter Biden, I would want to come in front of the House Oversight Committee and answer our questions. If he's done nothing wrong, then he can go and defend his good name and live happily ever after.
All right, but, you know, Congressman, it's very interesting, Mr. Chairman, I should call you. It's very interesting, though. Don't we have sufficient evidence? We've got people like Devin Archer. We've got people like Tony Bobulinski. We've got emails. We've got photographs. We've got evidence. I mean, as a former prosecutor myself, irrespective of what Hunter says, you've got a clearly prima facie case here.
I think so. I've said that for many months. I think we've produced many smoking guns. You know, there are people in the mainstream media that want to say otherwise, but poll after poll comes out and shows that the American people are keeping up with this investigation, and they realize that something bad is going on here, and the President of the United States has been dishonest with the American people. He's lied at least a dozen times about who he met with and what level of involvement he had in his family's criminal activities. And that's what they are. We're talking about money laundering. We're talking about tax evasion. We're talking about securities fraud. And the list goes on and on and on. So these are very serious crimes that any other American would have already gone to prison over. So really, there are two things that the Congress is going to have to look at here with respect to Biden corruption. First of all is the corruption itself, and secondly is the government cover-up. And you know, the witness that that Jim Jordan subpoenaed, Leslie Wolf, we have a lot of questions for her because her name always pops up anytime there's an obstruction, anytime that we interview a government employee that was supposed to be investigating this, and they say they were told to stand down, all roads lead to Leslie Wolf. So we have a lot of questions for her, and I know Jim Jordan's going to do a very good job in that deposition. But the Bidens will come in front of our committee. We expect them to. If they do not, Congress will hold them accountable. And I think that the evidence is overwhelming. And I know there are 2 or 3 moderates that still want to see what the Bidens have to say in their depositions. But at that point, the whole conference will get together and we'll decide how we're going to hold this family accountable for wrongdoing.
Okay. So when it comes to a vote on whether or not you're going to impeach Joe Biden, when do you think that's going to happen?
Well, certainly that'll be probably early spring. The sooner the better. It just depends on when these people come in for the depositions and transcribed interviews. We have about 24 people that we want to hear from, and we're expecting to hear from them in the next 45 days. After we hear from them, hopefully we'll be able to wrap up our job on the Oversight Committee, which was to investigate criminal wrongdoing and issue a report. Then we'll hand it off to the Judiciary Committee.
Right, but when you said you're going to hold them accountable if they make a decision to not come, will you hold them in contempt?
Absolutely. That's something that Jim Jordan and I talked with Speaker Johnson at length about last week, and I think we're all on board. We expect people to respect our subpoenas. This has been a credible investigation. We've been very transparent. This is a legitimate committee, unlike the January 6th committee. This is a committee where both parties appointed their membership. We have, published 4 bank memorandums. We've had countless press conferences. I don't know how many interviews we've done.
You've done
but
a lot.
We've been transparent with the American people.
You have done an awful lot. Look, final question that I have. We talked about a lot of bank accounts, a lot of different banks. Have you gotten all the bank records that you would want to?
Just about. I think one thing that's hard for anyone to understand is how many different accounts the Bidens had with each one of these shell companies. We continue to find new accounts. Almost on a weekly basis, we find a new account the Bidens had. So they're still coming in, but we've had very good luck with the banks. The banks have done a pretty good job honoring our subpoenas.
All right, Chairman Comer, thank you so much, and happy Thanksgiving to you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.